Out there making things happen.
Yeah.
Have you come up with a cool name for it yet?
No, you can help us with that. Though.
Oh man, I charge for that now. Come on. Mm-hmm. Come on.
Well, we definitely like doing it in the car. We think that's more fun.
Yeah.
And we're going to hop in Joni's convertible next time on a sunny day.
Nice.
And we've thought about mortgage questions with Joani and Amy, but that's blah. But we want something along the lines of carpool karaoke. Yeah, but for mortgage and real estate questions.
Yeah. Joani just looks scared to death to be here right now. I'm just like, I don't know what to say. Stop it. Make it go. Didn't you say the room was spinning? She's giving me the death look too.
It's an old lady hot flash
thing. I don't feel good, and I'm having one of those right now.
See, and you know what? And you're being a trooper because you're just posting and you're doing this because you're supporting your friend Amy here.
Mm-hmm. We're going to support each other.
That's what it's all about.
It's a partnership, right?
There you go. Just don't have margaritas before you come into work. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no. We wait for lunch and then take the afternoon off.
There you go.
Those were mimosas.
See, dude, I'm telling you, y'all should just do it Margarita Mondays.
Oh,
there you go. Okay, I'm gonna drop the mic. I'm done.
Margarita Mondays with Amy and Joni.
Or Thirsty Thursdays.
Oh. I love how everything's centered around alcohol. That's awesome. Yeah, it shows where we are as a society.
Courage.
Yeah.
That's what it is. No wonder the room's spinning. I'm not letting that one go, dude.
I'm sick. Just for anybody listening, I don't feel good.
That's what it is. So, hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Big B Mortgage Podcast. Today, I have got two ladies that you're going to be seeing a lot of on social media right now. They're really coming out of their comfort zones, and they've created a little video series that they've kind of got off the ground a little bit, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I've got Joani, Ferris, right?
Yep, need a loan? Call Joan.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
And I've got Amy. How do I say the last name?
Amy Waring, Coldwell Banker.
All right.
Get you a tagline.
Yeah, we need a tagline. Well, I'm Agent Amy in Austin.
There you go.
Dude, that almost sounds like some 007 stuff right there.
I know.
Yeah. Get you one with like a pin, like holding it for the James Bond pose. There it is.
I'll get the little pin with the hand because I'll be her hand, like on Game of Thrones.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started on Game of Thrones, man. I was complaining about it this morning.
I was disappointed. I fell asleep.
Last episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was something to see. We'll just leave it at that. I'm gonna leave that one. I'm gonna leave that one on the chair. So all right. So here we go. Joani, what are the three things? Sorry, I told you I wasn't gonna do that.
He's fired.
He's fired. So Joani, tell us about yourself a little bit.
I am, I don't know, a mortgage loan officer with Movement Mortgage in Austin, Texas. I have been in the mortgage industry for 24 years. I started off processing, did a little bit of underwriting, and 9 years ago, I branched off into origination.
Yep.
Started off with inside sales, and I let my buddies like Bobby and other people convince me that I could do more, and here I am.
There you go. See, look at that, short and sweet. That's it.
That's what everybody says about me, short and sweet.
Oh, dude. Until they get to know you. then it's pint-sized and salty.
There it is, that margarita. Still good for you.
Still going there. Yeah. I love that you think that that's what I was talking about, too. Like, it could have just been anything, right? Amy, how about you? How long you been in real estate?
I'm going on 4 years in real estate.
Yeah.
Before that, I was on the lending side. I started out as an executive assistant, just looking for a job. I was managing Salesforce CRM for a really well-known loan officer in the area, and I quickly became more interested in the loan side of things more than the marketing, and got my LO license, and did that for a little while. Moved into processing, and that's when I realized I was not cut out to be a processor after
Yeah.
about a year, and I really loved working with the buyers and
Yeah.
sellers too. We got to communicate with them sometimes, and my husband told me, "You can do it. Go do it." So I did, and I've been doing it full time ever since.
Talking about what? The real estate?
Yeah, real estate. We just dropped everything and went after my real estate career.
You really, like, you just left all that security and pivoted? Because, I mean, that's one of the things I've always envied about realtors, right? Especially, ones who are doing it, right? Like, because you got people who are, they're quote unquote realtors, but they sling a transaction like once a year.
Yeah, we call them dabblers.
Dabblers? Okay, I'm gonna remember that one. So, but for somebody to just pivot like that, because there ain't no safety net in what you do. I mean, there's no safety net in mortgage, but there's really no safety net in real estate.
Right. For the first 2 years, I really just had to focus on keeping my head right and learning all the hard lessons and just have to keep the hustle going. There were times when, I didn't go to an event because I didn't have gas in my car. My kids had to eat. So that first 2 years was really hard. My husband was very supportive. But now it's, with a lot of coaching and a great broker, I've never loved it more.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect, especially for companies like Caldwell, because they really invest in their employees, right?
They do. They have a lot of the training that other brokerages charge their agents for. As soon as the agent signs on, they pay $800, $1,200 to go through training. With Caldwell, all of that is free.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been a good experience. I really wish I would have joined them sooner.
Yeah. Well, you're there now.
Yeah.
It's I tell people I wasn't born in Texas. I just got here as fast as I could.
That's what I say.
So what's the one thing, like, well, not the one thing. Oh my God, I just quoted someone. But
I love the one thing.
What's one thing that you
So do I.
love about it? Like, I mean, what's your favorite part about real estate?
My favorite part is, well, it's hard to say. Just bringing something to an end point, an end result, kind of like when you mow the yard and you get one square down and keep going and keep going. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. People think, on the outside, my friends think that I just ride around and talk to people all day, but it's a lot more than that. And, once we get somebody under contract, there's probably 200 more steps. I mean, I talk to my clients every day. On the way here, I was on the phone with 2 of my sellers, and I just love being a part of their life. Like, you get really, really close with them, and the downfall to that is after the transaction's over, you really miss them.
Yeah.
Right.
But I love to stay in touch with my clients and see how they're doing. But I think my favorite part is that relationship with my people.
Well, and the beautiful part too is like here in Austin especially, I mean, you close them today, chances are they're going to buy or sell again later. You know what I mean? Within a few years in some cases.
Right.
I mean, we always talk about, stay in touch with your database, right? Because there's so much movement, and I think a lot of it is because we're blessed that we're in a market that, one, let's be honest, like, our appreciation rates here are ridiculous. I mean, and I knock on wood every time I say that. But, those buyers, it's like, okay, maybe that area is going to get too populated for them and they want to move further out. Like, I'm at that point, and I've only been in my house a year. I'm already looking at, like, dude, maybe I should have just moved to Georgetown. Like, let me get further away, because when you first get to Austin, it's like, oh, downtown, yay.
But everything's moving to Georgetown, too. Don't be fooled.
Well, and there you go. That's the other caveat, right? I'm going to end up having to buy in Waco if I really want some peace and quiet at this point.
Or Gerald.
Florence has beautiful land. We talk about getting out there and just getting away from it all because the traffic is really getting crazy. We live right off Ronald Reagan at Williams Drive in Georgetown, and it's subdivision after subdivision. And I think all the new construction is one of the reasons we have people moving so quickly. They are turned on to all these awesome builders who've come in, and They now have equity in their house because it's appreciated. We just sold one a few months ago that appreciated over $100,000 in less than 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So these people thought that, they actually had buyer's remorse. I was part of the team doing the loan for them. And then I ended up selling their house when they were selling. And they bought new construction. Yeah. Yeah.
That is really cool. Wow. $100,000?
Yep. Silverado Ranch, Cedar Park.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dang. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know I've been here 9 years, 10 years, something like that. And when I first moved here, I moved out on 1431 out in Round Rock, right? Right there where it butts up, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And this is before they got crazy with all those European turn intersections. And I remember it was like, it would be crazy in the city, but once I got out to 1431, it was like, yeah, okay, cool. And then it seemed like one day I woke up and I was on 1431. I'm like, where did all these people come from? Like out of nowhere. And now, forget it. Like, it's just crazy. But they're building so much out there. They're going to have that, quote unquote, their version of the domain. And, it's just, wow. Mm-hmm. Like, you just can't stop progress.
You can't. I drove out to Lago Vista the other day, and that whole part of 1431 is now peppered with houses. And it used to be such a beautiful drive, just nothing but hills.
Yeah.
That's all you see is houses.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Dude, and we're still at a deficit.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So you two are, I don't want to say similar. I mean, obviously, I know you guys go way back, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Joani actually trained me at AmeriPro Funding.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. I took a little break to do some freelance work, some setting up CRMs for loan officers and realtors. And as a single mom at the time, it didn't work out too well for me. So I was like, I'm going to get a job in mortgage again.
And you wonder why she ran.
And Joani trained me. I had come back after we went paperless. So when I started back and Joani trained me, I was learning Encompass and everything was paperless. I had never done it before.
I'm still not doing it.
Yeah, Joani still has the 4-inch thick files.
Oh, you do? I have paper files too.
Something about it. There's something about touching that paper. I don't know what it is.
And writing on it in different color markers.
Hey,
there you go.
My coach said that writing in different colors helps your memory, helps you remember things because you're painting a picture instead of just black and white.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Mm-hmm. It's adult coloring.
It's adult coloring.
Adult coloring.
Yeah. You don't need the book. You've got a file.
That's right.
So you guys are, obviously you got history together, but also one of the things that I, was going to reference is you both have that point where you were comfortable, let's call it, right, to a certain extent, and then you just decided to pivot. For you, it was just completely, totally different direction. Let's go into real estate. Let's make a run for it. And for Joani, it was, okay, let me leave the kind of the protection of this Fed LO position and go out and just do the self-source thing, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So let me ask you this. What's something, and I want each of you to answer, what was something that you could share that was instrumental for you to experience any type of success with your change? So let's start with you, Amy, because you have the most dramatic one out of the two, right? Joani stayed in the same industry. So she still talks mortgage day in, day out, day in, day out. And while in real estate, yeah, you've got that, you speak that language at that 20,000 foot view, right? But yours is, you're marketing to a completely different person at this point, right?
Right.
So tell me, like, what was something that you gathered out of this change in your life, this pivot moment that helped you, I guess, either A, stick with it, because we all know there was dark days, right? Like you mentioned it a little while ago. Some events you couldn't go to because there was no gas in the tank. So what was that thing? Like, what was it? Was it the dream? Was it a saying? What was it? What kept you on the straight path?
A lot of support from my husband and my family, my parents were very supportive. But I would find affirmations that worked for me, and I would say to myself every day, You know, you're going to do it. You have to do the right things the right way every single day. Just get up and do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was what I would tell myself. And some days it was hard to get up, but getting up and getting dressed and getting out the door and sitting down and making those phone calls, organizing my week the Sunday before, leaving spaces in the day, setting appointments. You have to set appointments. And I started looking at myself as the real estate doctor and everybody's sick. And that's how I get the courage
I like that.
to talk to somebody. And I pulled that from one of my first brokers, Gene Frederick. He's an awesome guy. And also, even though I'm not with Keller Williams, I love Gary Keller's books. The One Thing really turned it around for me. I read it after my first year and started really practicing it. And what it talks about is what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier. So it was knocking things out one by one, always putting a contact in my phone, whether it's a listing agent, a buyer lead, just having these systems in place so that, it's easier for me. I see when they call. Another thing was to always get dressed, just always get dressed so that if something comes up, I'm ready. It's not, oh, hang on, sorry I look like crap. But, look good, feel good.
Right.
Yeah. So it was the little things, just piling up and knocking it out.
So it's kind of a mental toughness.
Yes, a mental toughness. I mean, there were days I wanted to quit. I lost a really huge deal. One of my first listings, the appraisal came in $77,000 low. It was a rural property on 10 acres, and it was a new build. The appraiser didn't count it as a new build because it had been vacant for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And the buyers walked. The sellers cussed me out. And
that never happens.
And it took, there were a few people who just stayed in contact with me. I wanted to quit right then. I think I probably applied with you guys. But I reminded myself, I can't do a desk job. I mean, like most realtors, I'm pretty much unhireable. I mean, that's the truth.
Okay.
And I know.
Duly noted in case you ever apply again.
Well, unless you're going to let me work a flexible schedule. No. My kids are really smart and want to go to really expensive schools, and they like to go on vacations. And my husband's in law enforcement, and he will retire in that. And I just knew we had to up our income to live the life that we want to live.
Right.
And that I also needed flexibility because, sometimes he's checked out for 2 days and, I'm top mom. I'm top parent in the house. And when you're a realtor, you pick your 80 hours you want to work each week. So if I need to take off a couple hours to do something with the kids, I make up for it at night. But just getting done what needs to get done. I mean, if you take a week off in this business, you're shut down, really.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're on a planned vacation and have backup.
Wow.
Vacation, what's that?
Oh, please.
Hey, I bring my laptop with me. I'm always working.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Yes, I will
It's
give you that
true.
one. I will give you that one. You may be off in New Orleans or wherever at the beach.
At the beach. That's my happy place.
That's your happy place?
That's my happy place. I can do some really good thinking out there.
Yeah?
Me too.
Dude, I wish I could say the same. I just end up conflicted.
You probably end up sunburned from what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Yes. Yes, and not in that good way. No, in that way of should he go to the doctor? Are you okay? I remember when I first got married, the first few times I got sunburned, my wife would be real worried and I got some aloe, and you know what I mean? She would take care of me, right? Now we've been married so long, it's I told you, put that sunblock on. I told you. I warned you. And my kids, man, they're lucky because they've got enough of my wife's kind of complexion to where it's they may sunburn, but then that thing turns into the most beautiful tan, and it just pisses me off. It's oh, you lucky little dogs.
That's cool.
It is for them. Yeah. Meanwhile, Daddy's sitting out here looking like the lobster from The Little Mermaid. All I need to do is start singing a song, and I'd be good to go. Under the sea,
Put some self tanner on.
That's what it is. I'm gonna go get one of
orange.
those. I'm gonna get one of those Trump spray tans.
You need to get the toupee as well.
Oh,
You
dude,
can pull it off.
it's on like Donkey Kong. Actually, I already know what my Halloween costume's gonna be.
What?
Trump Jr.
No, I'm gonna be. I'm gonna see if I can find the costume for the guy, the bald dude from Game of Thrones, the advisor who got burned by the dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and just walk around like hello, all creepy and stuff. Yeah, it'll be great.
Joani and I are going to dress up like from The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I tried to get somebody to do it this year. I'm pretty sure I can get you to do it.
See, I was thinking you
I
guys
could do
that would be a great costume. The other one that I would say, especially because of the video series, which we haven't talked about, would be Thelma and Louise.
Oh, yeah.
In the convertible.
There you go.
Oh, I love it.
See?
I love it.
Just
See?
don't put us out by the Grand Canyon.
Just-
will
No,
not
we
come
have
back.
more hope
Right.
for our future.
No kidding.
Right.
It isn't there yet.
No.
All right, we'll get some cops to like fake chase you. Hey, your husband's in law enforcement.
Oh,
there you
that
go.
would be
Shoot the
awesome.
video.
He is,
Have
yes.
him do a mock traffic stop.
She would let him catch her.
She obviously did.
Yeah.
So, how long you been married, Amy?
Well, we got married in 2002. We got divorced in 2010. And then back together in 2014.
Cool.
Yeah.
They just had a hiccup.
Yeah, we had a hiccup. We came out here. We moved back out here after Hurricane Katrina. And our baby was born about 9 days after, and our heads weren't right. Our heads weren't right. I think I had some maybe postpartum depression I was in denial about, and I was just, crazy. It took about a year into the divorce for me to realize I made a mistake, but by then he was already remarried, and she was a Keller Williams agent, so that's another reason I didn't go to Keller Williams.
Good reason.
Damn Keller Williams.
Nothing against them, but yeah, they got divorced, and then we got back together, and yeah, it was fun. It still is fun. It's been 5 years.
Nice.
And we just pretend like we were never apart, really. We still celebrate our original anniversary.
That's good.
Awesome.
Yeah, May the 4th.
Wow.
Oh, you just had it.
Yeah, we just
Well,
had it.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. He's very supportive. He's my real estate assistant. He can, watch where I'm going with my showings because sometimes it's a little scary. Even though I'm pretty safe, I don't go out and meet people I don't know without vetting them. But he hates open houses. He feels like it's just women usually sitting in a open house waiting for someone to come kidnap them.
Right.
So he's usually a few feet away from me when I have an open house, and I have to have someone with me when I do it.
Well, a lot of, especially like down in South Texas, I can't speak to here because I don't see it as much, but I know down in South Texas, it's the buddy system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it's straight up. Like if you're a realtor and you're doing an open house, you either got your lender partner, you got your title partner, you got somebody who's going to be there with you for the duration. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's it.
Right.
Because there's some creeps out there. It's the only way I can put it.
Yeah, and a lot of realtors aren't doing open houses anymore. They're just finding other buckets of lead generation. But the statistics show that 3% of homes are sold through open houses. So if I don't do one for my seller, then I'm only at 97% in my mind.
Yeah, but I do also echo where you're coming from. There's a lot of other ways to get leads now, right? Mm-hmm. One being social media, right? Just crazy what you can do with social these days. Mm-hmm. So, Joani, before we jump on that though, what's one thing that's been key for you in this pivot of your career? Because here's the thing: like mortgage. That's the thing. Programs. How to get a deal from point A to point Z, but your biggest hang up or your biggest fear, I felt like, when you were making this transition was what?
Failure.
Failure, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty damn common, by the way.
It It is. I think I've done okay. I had to convince myself to come out of my comfort zone, as I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And that helped. But also, I just got married, and having another income coming into the house, it's not solely my responsibility, where the last 24 years it has been.
Right.
So that helps. I don't like being chained to a desk. I've gotten older now, and I enjoy, if I want to schedule an appointment around being able to go have lunch with my husband or dinner with my husband, so it doesn't matter. I can. I'm not chained to the desk. I make my own future, basically. Right. And that's exciting. I can either fail or I can succeed, and failure is just not an option for me.
Well, there's no money in that desk.
No, it's not Never. Fun either.
No. Well, not unless I'm sitting in the cubicle next to you like we did for, 4 years?
Yeah, that was
3
fun.
years?
That was fun.
Yeah.
We had the therapy couch that Jason was always on.
Yes, dude. I miss that guy.
Is this at AmeriPro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the stories, and nothing bad, don't get me wrong, but fun. It was just, it was me and a guy named Adam Beeler. I don't know if you ever knew Adam.
I remember Adam.
Adam. So he's over with what's his face? He's only the number one loan officer in Austin. New American Funding. What's his name? He was at Prime for so long. Max Lehman. Shit.
Oh, really?
Sorry, Max. Yeah, he's one of the LOs on the Max team now. Has been for a few years, I think. But anyway, so he sat in the cube next to me, and I remember we created a whole cubicle culture. Like, that's how, it was like we named it. It was Cube 84. And, and not that our cubes were actually 84, but it just rolled off the tongue. And so, we actually had it set up to where you could join Cube 84, even if you were in a cubicle in another part of the building. But you had to pay respect to Cube 84. It was just so stupid, but fun. That is the thing. Like, you're doing your work and everything, but there was a way. And it was a really cool time back then, man.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. It was a cool time.
It was just fun. Wow. Yeah. And
but you know what? It's fun still.
Oh, yeah.
Just different. We all grew up.
Well, yeah, age-wise. And
now he put me back in a cube.
She's hardly ever there. But
that's not true. I was here almost every day last week.
Oh, yes, I will give you that.
I do. I'm more productive at the office.
I know.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Well, and plus in that cube life, it's, the exchange of ideas is just, that's the one thing for me, is when I walk out and you guys are like pounding freaking ideas off each other. I think it's like, that's like one of the highlights of my day. It's like, oh, good. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I just don't like making phone calls from a cube. Everybody hearing my conversation.
Well, you have to stand up. You have to stand up and just speak as loud as you want, because I'm the same
Look
way.
At me.
You stand up and you get the power pose and just let everybody hear you. I don't care.
And then they all want to be like Joanie.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
Yeah.
WWJD.
Yes.
What would Joanie do? Here we go.
I love it.
I'm going to make up some bracelets.
You don't even have to, dude. You just go out and get the WWJD bracelet. They're already there. Yeah. There's nugget number 6. Come on.
Funny.
So tell me about this idea. Tell me about what you guys are doing from the marketing perspective. Because, again, when it comes to video scares the crap out of a lot of people, right? And I'm sure you guys are no different. I'm sure you, right before you're firing that camera up, you're like, oh, Jesus, why are we doing this?
Not Amy. Amy has no shy bug in her bones. She's perfect out there. She doesn't even have to think about it. I'm the one that sits there and goes, I used my deodorant. Okay, let me chew off my nail before we start.
Well, we have a rule too. We don't do second takes. What you see is what you get. We don't try to get it right. We don't do our hair and makeup before we go on. I might ask her if there's anything in my nose or teeth, but
right.
But no, we just go for it, because what we're finding is there are so many people who just don't understand the way this business works and what you need to do to be successful with your purchase or your sale. And And we both love working with first-time home buyers. So some of our videos are geared towards first-time home buyers who might they might be listening to what their family says. Oh, you have to do this, or you can't do it because of that. And what we try to get people to do is just not talk to other people, only talk to your lender and get with a lender right away.
Yeah.
And your realtor. Yeah. And don't call the listing agent. The listing agent doesn't represent you.
Right.
A lot of times people just call the listing agent or whoever they see on Zillow, or I put ads out to drive people to my website. So a lot of times they'll call me and they think it's my listing because I have all the listings from MLS on my site. But call your realtor. That's what they're there for. People are like, oh, I don't want to bother you on a Saturday. What do you mean a Saturday? This is my Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
What was that one flyer we had? Don't wait till Monday. I'm working this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's
it's the truth.
I wish I would have had people back when I was originating that would have said that, but they never did. It was just like, hey, I need you now. It's like, all right, I'm here. Let's go. Let's rock. Right? Because again, like you said, like baby's got to eat. You know what I mean? Baby's got to eat.
And Mama wants some new shoes.
Yes, always.
There you go. There you go. Actually, Daddy does too, but we won't even go there. So where did the idea come from for the video?
I don't know. I don't know honestly why I didn't call Amy before I did about a month ago. I knew that she was in the real estate business, but as you know, that's the worst part for me is cold calls, right? And I didn't want to use that friendship as my tool to get her to talk to me. I wanted her to use me for her loans or her buyers because she trusts what I do. And she knows that I'm good at it. So I finally picked up the phone. She actually answered the phone.
I said, oh, it's Joey.
I mean, the first couple of rings, I didn't have to leave a message or anything, which was great. And I said, let's get together and do a video. And I mean, we had lunch, we got in the car, and she started videoing, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, you meant now? Yeah.
And we did it again last week. I think we're going to do it again this week. I don't know if we're going to do it today or tomorrow or.
Yeah, we're going to do it this week.
Yeah.
We need to get in the convertible and get the
lapel mics.
The lapel mics.
Where do we get those at?
Amazon. Everything you need in life is
and
on
the selfie
flipping
stick,
Amazon.
Then we can walk around when we do the open houses.
It's all on Amazon. Because all this podcast equipment, Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the mixer, the mics, the cords, all of it on Amazon. Selfie sticks, all that video equipment I have over there with the light and all that stuff, the green screen, Amazon. It's all on Amazon.
I just want to make sure we keep it fun too, though. I mean, that's part
well,
of
and
it.
That's the whole thing right there. Like, I love what Amy was saying. Like, there are no second takes.
Nope.
Right? I'm not worried about the makeup per se. I'm not worried about this. I'm not worried about that. Because, dude, that's real. And that's what they want. Like, if you can share a video of you falling down, you're gonna get twice as many. I mean, that
could happen.
Oh, dude,
you met me.
Oh, I can go back and show you the first video I did with someone, and you would wonder how many margaritas I had before the video. I mean, it was one of those things. Like, I did this specific video just to get up the courage to release the podcast, which sounds totally ridiculous, right? Like, I was seriously, I had 6 episodes of the podcast recorded before I released the first one, because I was
that's not like Bobby.
I was scared to put it out there. And then I thought, well, what am I, what's the craziest thing I could do to, like, get over that? And I don't know why, but my weird brain do a video. And so I did this video with this realtor down in Laredo, where I literally butcher the Spanish language. Now, I am bilingual, okay, just to clarify, but I butchered the Spanish language on purpose. And I put this video out with the guy, and I'm just waiting for, like, the trash to hit, right? I'm just waiting for people to just mutilate me. And dude, it was weird. It was like everybody was laughing, having a good time, and, I was getting phone calls about it. And the next thing I know, I had another agent out of McAllen reach out and was like, dude, I saw your video. I need to do one. Like, we need to do a video together.
cool.
And it was
That is
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it was a trip. But then after that, like after I saw that the boogeyman wasn't coming, Baba Yaga wasn't around the corner. John Wick, Baba Yaga wasn't coming. It was like, oh, okay, well now the podcast won't be a big deal. And boom, it's
Yeah, they get easier, or it's gotten easier for me. She's like you. Y'all can do this fairly well.
Yeah, I want to get to where we're getting a lot of comments and questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Well,
it
are you
flows.
doing
Right.
are you doing live video?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, we're live. And after the first one, I was like, oh my gosh, my hair looks awful.
But we had like 774 views on
Yeah.
that video in
Yeah.
one day. That was awesome.
Yeah, and people calling.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I got a lead on a loan from the Facebook marketing that I'd been doing. So
Mhm.
now I'm fighting against Chase to keep it, but I'm prettier than Chase, just saying.
Yeah,
Just saying.
and you answer your phone.
That's right. I do
Yeah,
answer my phone.
that's big in this business.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
It's a must.
Well, and like we were talking about it earlier, like these guys that work with us down in Corpus, they started off doing like these mortgage minute videos, right? And they would have like these funny backgrounds, and they're just standing in front of a green screen. And they've transitioned from that to where they started doing this interview with a house. And they have gotten so much more activity off the interview with a house. Like they've had, like I remember one of my guys called me a few weeks ago, and he was like, "Dude, you're not gonna believe it." And I'm like, "What?" He was like, "The homeowner wants to take us up in his helicopter
Oh, wow.
for the interview
Wow.
with the house." I'm like,
That's what I think we need to do. Is something we can't call it that because then we're copying them. But
Right.
We could do something similar, even if we went during the week, like we're showing a house while people are at work,
Yeah.
instead of during open houses.
Mm-hmm.
y'all should. Well, I would do a parody of Cribs.
That would have been perfect for the
Oh,
list that you
yeah.
sent me that we were going to try to do this weekend.
Yeah.
I've told people, I was like, yeah, I would do a parody of Cribs. Like, just, because you can, here's the thing, if you're shooting off of iPhones, and I don't know, what do you use for your computers at home? Mac, PC?
Mac.
Okay, iMovie. I mean, right there, you can edit it down, speed it up. You can do all this stuff. So, like, you have that opening shot. And, like, I've told people this before. I was like, dude, yes. So, like, you walk up to the house, right? Like, all normal. But then when you're editing it, you just speed it up. And it's like you're doing it. And then just have one of you open the door, like, welcome to my casa. Or whatever. You know what I mean? And, like, do the tour. And I don't know. I've always thought that would be a cool ripoff.
Yeah.
I like that. I
do
like
too.
that. Yeah.
Come on into my house.
Right? Yeah, come on into this list. Right. She said she can't afford the garage. Nothing escapes the podcast, all right? I'll go back and I'll up your mic feed for that one.
Negative.
Negative. But nah, man, I mean I watched last week's, I guess it was last week's, we'll
Yeah.
call it an episode.
Yep.
I thought it was cool, man. You guys just boom, turn it on and go.
We did. We had fun too. We
Yeah.
were sitting outside, so we were a little windblown, and we had some people thinking we were a little cuckoo. But you know what? Who cares? We are.
Yeah, I noticed that.
We
when you
are.
were-
That's right.
Yeah, we are cuckoo. That's what keeps it fun.
Well, my coach teaches that the most successful people in any business are the ones that will do what other people won't do. And
There you go.
so that gives me some ammo.
There it is. Well, I love it, man. I think you guys are on to something that could really take off.
Yeah, I think so too.
I do too.
And I'm really glad Joni's with Movement. I love Movement.
So is Movement. Movement's really glad Joni's with Movement too.
Uh-huh.
We're
There's
not-
a whole story,
We're
I'll
not
tell
going
you.
into that story, but I am just here to say I love Movement Mortgage.
Uh-huh.
I do, unless Bobby leaves me, I do not foresee ever leaving. I'm done. I hated it at first because it was learning new stuff, but that was it. But it was good for my brain, and I love it. I love the company. I love the culture. I love working with Bobby again. I really do. And I like working with Task when he's here. No, he's my friend. I like working with him too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's you know,
It's a fun office.
we're putting the band back together.
I like my job again, and that's important. And my last one, from the day I got in there, I knew there was going to be issues, and it was hard to like my job, but I like my job again.
Well, see, and I think that's also a big contributor to your ability, and by your, I mean anybody, your ability to be successful, because it's not always sunshine and rainbows, right? Like there are tricky situations, tricky days, hard files, blah, blah, blah. But if you enjoy the people that you're around for these 8 hours, or in your case 3, that you're here,
an hour and a half, don't let him fool you.
I think that really goes a long way in sticking the road, or navigating that troubled water.
Well, I was afraid to let go of the security part of it.
I know you were. Anybody would be.
So
I mean, come on.
I did.
I'll tell you what, the hardest part of my life, I think, throughout the whole financial crisis going back to 2008, is when I settled into a salary position. And I remember everything that the company would make me do or have me do, or whatever project I was doing, I would be sitting there thinking, because I was always 100% commission since like my first real job. I remember thinking like, dude, I'm going to do all this work and this is all I'm going to make. You know what I mean? It took me a year and a half, and I was like, no, please put me back on commission.
Making somebody else's dream come true.
Please put me back on commission. Because you really do write your own ticket.
Yep.
So. All right, ladies. Well, we're wrapping up. So give me some nuggets. Amy, what's one thing you want to share with people on the way out?
Oh.
I love putting her on the spot.
I love it. You got her.
I got her. She always has something to say.
One thing I want to share with people is that it's a great time to sell if you're in an existing home, because there are many buyers who are not attracted to new construction. They want the charm of an old neighborhood. We're out knocking on doors trying to find people to sell their 1984 built home with trees covering it. And that's true. We're going out this afternoon in one particular neighborhood where we have a buyer who absolutely has to be in that neighborhood. And so it's a great time to sell with competitive offers on most properties, especially under $400,000. And then, I have 2 things. And if you need a loan, call Joan.
Oh, look at that. The shameless plug right there.
Yeah.
The shameless plug.
That's what we do.
That's how we do.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And then the other thing I want to say, too, this is a great place for people to move their parents to be closer to them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing a lot of my friends and people I know making that decision to move their elderly parents into town so that they can have a better quality of life, being close to their family and close to everything that our communities offer. We're seeing a lot of that, and also some next-gen homes where, grandma can move into the casita and pick up the kids from the bus stop. I mean, it's a new market.
One thing you were saying, though, about people wanting the charm of like an older neighborhood, I totally get that, right? Because before we purchased our house last year, we had been renting the whole time, and the house we rented before we bought was a 25, 30-year-old neighborhood, right? But it was so cool. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just so cool. The trees are ginormous. Dude, the roads were huge. Like, I would always tell people when I would like, oh, yeah, no, man, my roads are just giant, right? Because in a lot of the newer communities, those roads seem like if there's a car parked on this curb and a car parked on that curb, it ain't but one car going to fit down that road, right? And like this neighborhood that I was living in, it was like, man, you could have 2 cars parked next to each other on each side of the road and still have room, right? It was just giant streets, giant trees. So that was one thing that, like, for us, for me and my family, when we were looking, we didn't go down the new home road. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but we wanted that big tree, that established neighborhood, things like that. And so, I definitely understand where you're coming from on that.
Yeah. Well, this was fun, Bobby.
Yeah, you like it?
Yeah, it is fun.
It is fun.
Joanie, what about you?
I think my biggest thing I want to get out is that If you think you can't buy a house, let me help you make that decision. Don't be afraid. It doesn't cost you anything to get pre-qualified. It doesn't cost you anything to talk to me. I'm not going to put you into something that you can't afford or have you do something that you shouldn't. Home buying is not always a fun process, but at the end of the day, it's an amazing feeling and accomplishment. It's the largest purchase you'll ever make until you buy the next one, right? So it's important. And I think you should at least try. Don't give up. Don't think that you're right and everybody else is wrong. Call me.
So where do they find you?
512-785-8010.
What's your website?
www. JD. It is more.
Oh, I just got it. Sorry. I'm a little slow. My caffeine's wearing off. Okay.
It's Movement
Just look for Joani Ferris. Just Google Joani Ferris Movement Mortgage.
That's right.
There you go. Amy, what about you? How do people find you?
People find me at amywaring.com. They can
There it
send
is.
me a message there, and I'll get it right away. And they can also call me, 512-783-5609.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you,
Thank
Bobby.
you, Bobby.
All right. Hey, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Big B Mortgage Podcast. If you did, give us a like, give us a share. But whatever you do, please stay social, everybody. Till next time. Bye.